And I will introduce overall what we are doing in government, and then we will move on to that survey.
Hello, Gaurav. How are you?
Hi, Ram. So Ram is from Infosys, and he will co-lead with me today.
Hello, Mr. Ram.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining.
Good evening.
So you are from Chennai or from Bangalore?
I'm from Bangalore.
Okay.
So Ramnath, that answers your question probably.
Yeah.
Be one
I
reason.
know.
Since
But they
Ramnath,
could have always taken a way to reach, not far off Bangalore and Chennai.
Mr. Gaurav, Mr. Ramanathan is the managing director of Ponni Sugars Limited, a listed company, and he's the chairman of the Industries Development Committee, Industries Committee. But he was asking that why not physical, interactive meeting than a virtual one?
Yeah.
Always
No,
it is more effective to have a face-to-face interaction.
No, absolutely. Physical is always much more effective. The reason being that we chose virtual was we have a survey that we want everybody to kind of take it and use it and fill it together. So virtually then it, adds, it's much more easier because everybody is on their computers in that sense.
In fact, one of the sessions we were planning to have is this ease of doing business in Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
A lot of facilitation role is being played by guidance, and we want you to come in person to the chamber and
Yes.
then have a session on the ease of doing business.
So yeah, that can be done. And then what we can do, we can even run through our portal for ease of understanding of companies as to what is the benefit of our portal, what do we mean by ease of doing business, what efforts are we taking on ease of doing business, and what's in the pipeline. So I think we can have a 1 hour session. It's a different team, not me who works on it, but I can always loop them in for a session whenever you suggest a convenient date and time.
Yes.
So can we start the program? Let others join.
Yeah.
Good evening, one and all. I invite you all for the joint program organized by Hindustan Chamber of Commerce with Guidance Tamil Nadu. I now invite Mr. V. Nagappan, President, Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, to welcome the audience.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this event by Hindustan Chamber of Commerce on Industry 4.0 jointly with Guidance Tamil Nadu. This becomes more important in current context, in an era of VUCA, what we keep discussing about volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So in such a scenario with so much of development taking place around us, all around us, with artificial intelligence, machine learning, new things happening, I think it becomes more important, and it's a very much a current topic to discuss. And I would like to, we are grateful to the Guidance Tamil Nadu for organizing this event for the benefit of our members. And I also welcome Mr. Gaurav Daga, Associate Vice President of Guidance Tamil Nadu, Mr. Nampuraja, Principal Consultant, and Mr. S. Ramachandran, Principal Consultant of Infosys. And I don't want to stand between you and the speakers. And I once again welcome all of you and thank you for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you, President. I now invite Mr. N. Ramanathan, Chairman, Industries Development Committee, to talk about the background of the program.
Yeah, thank you, Chitra. First and foremost, I welcome our friends from both Guidance and from Infosys Knowledge. Guidance, as many members here will know, it was formerly known as Tamil Nadu Industrial Guidance and Export Promotion Bureau. It was established, I think, somewhere around 1992. For 30 years, it has been in service for the benefit of entrepreneurs, for the benefit of industry in Tamil Nadu. They have been instrumental in facilitating more than 5 lakh crores of investment in the state. So this global investor meet and all, they have taken a very active role in promoting those things. The primary mandate of this guidance as per the state industrial policy is to serve as a focal point for dissemination of information, facilitate entrepreneurship, and give fillip to industry growth. So it is in this endeavor, they are now taking upon the role to promote, propagate what this industry 4.0 means. I think they have also got a kind of a questionnaire. They take feedback from members, and then based on that, they try to be of use to the industry. And in this endeavor, they have partnered with Infosys Knowledge Center, and jointly they are trying to reach to industry on this industry 4.0. This is an era where we are confronted with all these numbers. We have Windows 9, Windows 10, Windows 11. We have in telecom 2G, 3G, 4G, latest is 5G. We may not know much of the difference between all these numbers. All that we know as a layman is the later version is something superior to earlier version, and often it is vastly superior to the earlier version. So in that context, now we are keen to understand what exactly this 4.0 means, how it helps us, and why we need to embrace it, how it will benefit us. These are the areas I think at the end of the session, we are going to be benefited. To put it simply, the first generation revolution, Industry 4.0 is the fourth revolution, fourth industry revolution, as people call it. The first revolution came out of mechanization. That was when steam engine was invented. That was when the water power was used. That was Industry Revolution 1. The second revolution was about electricity. It was about mass production. It was about assembly line production. This is where all these Ford and other automobile makers, they make use of assembly line techniques instead of each worker making full final product. These are assembly line products which improved vastly the productivity, and it helped the industry to cut cost. The third revolution came out of electronics, IT systems, and automation. I think most of our generation, we have grown now with the third generation. By now, we are fairly conversant with all these Industry 3.0 products. Now, the latest is Industry 4.0, which is the fourth resolution. This is essentially associated with the cyber physical systems, growing trend towards automation and data exchange. Today, data is king. It talks about data exchange, technology, and process. And we are all now used to some of these terms like Internet of Things, Industrial Internet of Things, smart manufacture, smart factory, cloud computing, cognitive computing, and AI, artificial intelligence. This is an area where India also has got an edge, and companies, corporates like Infosys, they have taken a lead in showing the strength of Indian industry to develop in all these products. I think we have only a very, very cursory idea of manufacture or Industry 4.0, and we are keenly looking to both guidance as well as Infosys Knowledge Center to throw more light and tell us how we as an industry, we as an MSME, we can benefit. I think it is not essentially meant only for large industries. This 4.0 is meant for all. And though it talks about industry, it talks of service sector also. I think all of us in the chamber should benefit at the end of the day. So I now leave the floor open for the guidance to take us forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I now invite Mr. Anand Rajagopal, Co-Chairman, Industries Development Committee of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, to introduce the speakers and give his remarks.
Thank you, Chitrama. Good evening to all. When you talk about manufacturing, China is considered the manufacturing shop floor of the world today. They have improved, their manufacturing processes have improved by leaps and bounds. This Industry 4.0 gives an opportunity for India to catch up with the manufacturing advances in the world. If you talk about Europe or US or even China, we are lagging behind. And this is an opportunity for us to catch up. In a very simple understanding, the building blocks of Industry 4.0 consists of hardware in the machinery or equipment, embedded software in the chips or in the hardware in the machines, IoT, and finally collecting the data, collating the data, and presenting the data in actionable format to the user, which is the software which resides in the cloud or in the in the server. So these are the basic building blocks, and even this is applicable whether it is a large industry or a small industry. It is applicable to all. Even small industries can monitor energy, improve their efficiency. The large industry can do wonders and automate the processes. So this is an opportunity, and I am glad today to welcome and introduce three eminent speakers. Mr. Gaurav Daga, Associate Vice President of Guidance Tamil Nadu. He is an experienced public policy analyst with a demonstrated history of working in the public administration. He has done public policy at Cambridge and has worked at various national and international institutions. Secondly, I would like to introduce Mr. Nambaraja Inos, Principal Consultant with Advanced Engineering Group at Infosys, focusing on the rapid and simultaneous adoption of emerging technologies that are reshaping industrial economies. He brings 18 years of cross-industry experience and is currently responsible for managing Industry 4.0 initiatives at Infosys. Finally, I would like to introduce and welcome Mr. Ramchandran, who has about 24 years of diverse progressive global experience with 1.5 years of experience of research, post-master's degree, and executive MBA. He specializes in manufacturing, supply chain management, emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and business process and quality. We will open the floor to the speakers, and I am sure it will be a very interesting session for all the audience members. Over to you, Chitra madam.
So, Daga.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, for organizing this and inviting us. Thank you, Mr. Ramanathan, Mr. Anand, and Mr. Nagappan for your opening remarks. I think each one of you have, in a way, highlighted at a broader level what Industry 4.0 is and the relevance of Industry 4.0 for SMEs and large industries. I will start with this problem statement, and I think I have repeated at a number of forums, but this is what it is, right? The large industries often have the capital, the technology, the resources at hand to use technologies, emerging technologies to their advantage and produce better and innovative products. And it is SMEs and MSMEs who are often constrained with that human resource capabilities or technology or the requisite capital to invest in the growth of their manufacturing capabilities and use such technologies to develop further products. What we in government have realized is that the MSMEs and the sub-large companies need our help the most. And given that Tamil Nadu has the highest number of factories, the relevance is at the most and all the most important. And Industry 4.0 is a part of the industrial journey that Mr. Ramanathan said. I mean, we started from steam and we are up to now cyber physical systems. And if we don't adopt, by we, I mean our SMEs and sub-large companies, if they don't adopt those technologies, we will not be able to integrate ourselves as a state and as companies to the larger global value chain and larger supply chain of manufacturing. That's number one. Number two, if we don't adopt those two technologies, we'll be lost in that race of becoming a 5 trillion economy as a country and 1 trillion economy as a state. And number three, for SMEs to stay relevant and ensure that their competitors elsewhere in the world don't capture their market, it's all the most important in terms of their survivability to adopt such technologies. Now, as I've said in my opening remarks earlier, that these technologies are sometimes might be, capital intensive, or the SMEs may need guidance on as to what could be done. The SMEs might have legacy assets. There might be challenges in terms of different technologies being used at bay and so on. So to help SMEs in their journey, we in Industries Department have taken multiple efforts. Number one that we have done for the Chennai cluster and the Hosur cluster is that we have set up SIPCOT innovation centers within the SIPCOT parks, mainly to help industries to think about these challenges and offer them some guidance, some advice, and some tools and technologies at bay, which they can use it to advance their products and processes, number one. Number two, in collaboration with some of the world's leading technological providers like Siemens, Dassault, and GE, we have set up Center of Excellence in Chennai. These are again directed for SMEs to come and use those services at a minimal cost. Two, SMEs can send their employees to upskill their employees and kind of use these technologies. And number three, the larger agenda for government is that the future-ready workforce is created, and the workforce that comes tomorrow already knows and understands these technologies and is able to contribute better in a shop floor setting. And finally, what we have also done, we have collaborated with World Economic Forum. They are a leading platform in the economic and global space. With World Economic Forum, we are training some assessors which could help industries to go and assess their industries and come back to us and say, well, this is the areas where industries in their manufacturing line in their manufacturing journey needs the help, and this is where they can implement Industry 4.0 to get the highest ROI. Or maybe to have some use cases in action for them to really believe and see the differences in their product manufacturing. And that's the 3 efforts that we have done. And one effort that we are doing with Infosys, with me, I have Nampuraj and Ramchandra, is to understand the potential of industries in terms of Industry 4.0 and see what efforts industries are taking themselves and what can we as a state do to help them. So we are doing a survey with Infosys, with the University of Nottingham, and with the University of IIT, which is Madras, to understand where are SMEs in their journey, where are sub-large companies in their journey, where are different sectors in their Industry 4.0 journey. Are they thinking about Industry 4.0 to begin with, or are they thinking that maybe in the near-term future we will do so, and at now we will just wait and watch for what is to happen to our neighboring industries and so on. So all of this data will help us, if you fill in this survey, will help us to understand better your pain points, will help us understand better your challenges, and will help us understand better policies that we can direct towards you, which could be beneficial apart from the 2-3 initiatives that we have undertaken. On the about 2-3 initiatives which I told, I mean, we'll be happy to connect any industries to these centers, to these center of excellences, and help them, guide them these technologies. On the survey, what we wish to do today in the call is Ramchandra will share that survey. I will share the survey link in the chat box, and Ram will have a walkthrough. We'll ask all manufacturers to kindly open that survey link as Ramchandra will have a walkthrough of that survey, and fill in that survey as we go along, so that we also get your feedback, get your data, and if there are any questions and challenges that you feel that needs to be highlighted, we'll be happy to hear. I will stop here and hand over to Nampu. Nampu, maybe briefly highlight about the Industry 4.0, the origins of it, and what Infosys is doing, and then possibly hand it over back to Ramchandra to take that survey. Thank you.
Thank you, Gaurav. So I'll try sharing my screen, and let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, so thank you, Gaurav, and for the speakers for their initial comments. This is exactly in line with what we are planning to do today. And I'm also privileged because we have a very, very esteemed audience. And we tried talking about different industry revolutions and positioning where Industry 4.0 comes in. But just one comment follow up, or I want to just springboard on that particular point to just highlight why Industry 4.0 is very unique and special in that regard. Right. While every other industry revolution, be it 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, as Mr. Ramanathan was explaining, was called as an industry revolution after they were able to see the outcomes or benefits of that particular industry revolution. But now we are at a position where Industry 4.0 has been talked about in the industry for some time, but we are yet to see the full benefits of the benefits of this revolution. Therefore, I would say this is the first time an industrial revolution is predicted a priori and not observed at exposed. This is interesting because this provides various opportunities for forward-looking companies and research institutions and consortiums like what we are having today to help the industries shape their future, right? And it is also not a very easy thing to adapt, because as Mr. Ramanathan was again saying, and Mr. Manand also, there are multiple technologies coming together. Every other revolution had a single primary technology which was driving this revolution. But now, we have AI, we have machine learning, and we have other, cyber physical systems. These are all coming together. And then we are, while these technologies are capable for helping industries, we are talking about industries who have legacy systems, who have been in this operating legacy mode of working for the last 100 years, right? If not more than that, right? So it is a big gap between legacy and the benefit of new technologies. And this is exactly, industries are struggling to adopt, in technologies in a big way. And that is exactly why we wanted to bring in something called as the Industry 4.0 Readiness Study, to try and see where industries are standing today, right? And as Gaurav was saying, this is a joint initiative from, in fact, it is an initiative from the government of Tamil Nadu under the leadership of Guidance Tamil Nadu, but supported by both research institutes like Nottingham, IIT Madras, and then technology company like Infosys. So what I would do is basically try to give a glimpse of the framework that we are using for this assessment, right? Because so whatever study that we are doing is founded on a very, very scientific, holistic approach. Well, as I said, there is a lot of challenges in trying to really understand how industries can adopt Industry 4.0 technologies. We also wanted to come out with a pragmatic approach in which we can try and evaluate the maturity of industries, right? So we are basically leveraging this Industry 4.0 maturity index, which is developed by Acatech. Acatech here means German Academy of Science and Engineering, and this is an interesting body because these are the guys who coined the term Industry 4.0 in 2011. And Acatech is a policy organization, just like Guidance Tamil Nadu, helping the German government to take technology investment decisions, right? So under the leadership of Acatech, starting 2015. There was a consortium that was set up, and again, this was a very interesting blend of scientific, that is academic and industry partners, because we didn't want to take a framework which is going in a fundamental research perspective. Rather, we didn't want to take an industry perspective, but we wanted to blend them together, and that is where we jointly developed this Industry 4.0 maturity index. And we are leveraging this framework for doing this assessment under the leadership of Guidance Tamil Nadu, which was launched by the Chief Minister himself in late June. And I also presented this here because you can go to the public domain and read this framework in detail. There is this paper available, so please take time to read this. But in concise, if I summarize this framework, this talks about 6 levels of maturity and 4 structuring forces. I just wanted to give you a context of this because one thing that we realized as we developed this framework is that Industry 4.0 is just not a technology game. It's just not about implementing technology, but it is a holistic organization-wide initiative. That means you need to have smart systems. That is where here it is called as resources. That means production resources, manufacturing resources, manufacturing assets. So you need to have cyber physical systems. You need to have technologies like MES, ERP, big data, and all those things. You need to also build in digital processes. For example, you might have the best technology, but if your processes is still a paper-based processes, then you're still not leveraging the advanced, benefits of technology. So you still have a weakest link in the chain. And then organization, because people, they are going to be a core part, because skill gap and other challenges are going to be a very, very interesting aspect to consider in Industry 4.0 journey. So these are 4 structuring forces, and these 4 structuring forces will be evaluated in 6 levels of maturity, right? But again, we didn't want to complicate it. We want to simplify as much as possible the way we can evaluate companies. And therefore, the 6 levels of maturity is based on the outcomes that they are able to get out of implementing a technology or a process or the organization that can support Industry 4.0 revolution, right? So we are not at this point in time telling, have you implemented MES? Have you implemented ERP? Have you implemented analytics? No. Do you have digital skills? No. but because each company is very unique in that kind, right? Because it is not a fit-all solution. We need to keep that also in mind. Industry 4.0 is not a fit-all, but you can customize it in the way you would want. Therefore, what we are trying to find out using this framework is, are you able to see the benefits of Industry 4.0? So this is all about business value articulation. And starting with, and we have just taken the top 4 levels. So the first level is visibility, right? Do you have a real-time visibility of your processes? It could be production process, supply chain process, energy management process, maintenance process. Do you have a clear visibility, real-time visibility? You use whatever technology that is available today, but do you know how many equipments are down, how many are up and running, what is their efficiency, what is their productivity? Are you able to get visibility? And the second level of maturity is, okay, you are able to see, you are able to get visibility, you know what is happening. Are you able to understand why is it happening? Suppose an equipment is broken down. Are you able, suppose a KPI is going bad, are you able to understand there is a process that is broken down, and you also know the root cause analysis of it, or you know the root causes of it? So the second level of maturity is if you have implemented measures to understand the benefits or understand the processes in detail. And the third level of maturity is if you have collected data to understand visibility and get more transparency, are you able to build those or put those data into a system which can then help you to do some analytics and help you predict? That means you know what is happening, you know why it is happening, and do you know when will it break down next? Maybe you are not doing any precaution measures, but at least you know, hey, today 3 o'clock there could be a potential failure, so your outage is prepared, your inventory is prepared and everything, right? So your stock is kept ready and all those things. And the final level of maturity, which is what a bit of futuristic, is your system knows when it will break down and it will optimally optimize, right? That means it will you will build some expert system which will tell the system, okay, this is going to break down, you can't run at full speed after 3 o'clock, you will have to slow down. That means the outage concerns will not be so severe, right? So these are the 4 levels of maturity that we have kept in mind in this assessment. But now you already see a complexity, right? 4 levels of structuring forces and 4 levels of maturity. So what we have done then is translated this into a set of questionnaires. That is a detailed matrix, but don't worry about it. So each structuring forces has 2 guiding principles, and each guiding principle will be evaluated in this 4 levels of maturity: visibility, transparency, predictability, and adaptability. And if you are less than visibility, that is one other option. So what you have is 8 questions. The first question is to understand the capability of resources in the context of digital capability. And okay, the option 0 will be less than visibility. That means you say you're not even having the level of visibility. Please feel, be very frank in your answering, because this is all about understanding the status quo. And option 2 will be visibility. Option 3 will be transparency. 4 is predictability, and 5 is adaptability. So what we have done in a 8x5 matrix is, by just bringing 8 questions and 5 options for each questions, we have translated this complexity into, a simpler way by which you can undergo this, take this, survey, right? But again, take time to read this framework that's available in the public domain, but we have just simplified this for the sake of, getting your responses without taking much of your time. So this should take around 10 to 12 minutes. And maybe I'll take a quick pause here. And did I hear some questions in case if you want to, take it up at this point in time, or I will, hand over the, time to Ram, who can take you through the survey. Any quick questions here at this point in time?
Thank you, Mr.
Sure.
Purja, for a very overview that you have very clearly given to people here. My only point is whether the participants here by themselves, or they will they be in a position to take this survey? Because in many cases, the processes may be run by different people, and they are the people who are better placed to give the factual information. So
Right.
whether this can be done online right now, or whether it is something which they have to circulate to their team who are on a day-to-day basis involved. For example, if we take a case of our company, the factory is in Erode. So all the processes, they are all headed by one specialist, and he is the person who can give a more practical answer. I can give only from some overview. So
Right.
it will be more fruitful for a person having hands-on deal in these areas to give a response to the survey. That will make it more meaningful.
Now, Mr. Ramanathan, that's a very practical question. So my comments goes like this, right? So first, Ram will take you or walk the team, whoever has joined the call, through the questionnaires in line with the framework that I explained so far. So you can try and look at the questionnaire, and please feel free to respond even now, because even you from your side, because you are the people who will have the strategic view of things, right? And even from one company, we are trying to see if we can get multiple responses, because the production manager might give his perspective of it, his perspective of response. The maintenance manager might come from a completely different perspective, and operation excellence guy come from a different perspective, and you from a strategic point of view, right? So when we get multiple responses, we are basically trying to neutralize the bias that is coming from different people, and we are also getting this holistic view, because some of the strategic initiatives, some of the people on the ground may not be aware. So yes, you will have to bring in onboard them very quickly. That is very, very important and good. But please feel free to, if you are having access to the network, please feel free to give this response as Ram walks you through this. And secondly, the intention of this call is also to make you as local ambassadors, right? So you are our points of contact who will definitely have to go to your clusters, go to your companies, and please encourage them to give as many responses as possible, because the more responses we get, we will be able to get a holistic view, a neutralized view, and then we'll be able to bring in different perspectives. So that is an important point. Whoever has been able to join this call, please, your Industry 4.0 ambassadors for Tamil Nadu, right? So please take that also. So in that regard, if you are getting multiple perspectives, it's always and definitely welcome. Ram, if you want to take over, right?
Yeah.
The link is already available in the chat window.
Yeah.
Please feel free to log into this URL and see if you at least go through the questionnaire along with Ram, so that if you have some specific doubts, and Ram will also take some time to explain the options and what perspective these questions are built, and that will also help you to explain further in your organization. And again, please feel free to contact us if you want a follow-up call with your team, right? If you have 20 people in your organization who want to join from different locations and have a dedicated walkthrough on this, please feel free to reach out to Gaurav, and he will be able to arrange something of that kind along with us. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nampu. Good evening, everyone. So one status update on where we are on the study, right? That will tell you how important your responses are on this call, because this call, what me, Gaurav, and Nampu are planning was for you to actually take the survey and complete it, because again, the fact of the matter is we have got good responses from OEMs and tier 1 suppliers, basically large organizations in Tamil Nadu, but we definitely need good data points from the MSME sector, because as all of you know, there is a sort of healthy competition, right? So since we are all from Tamil Nadu, we have an interest in this. Let's take this as an opportunity to help policymakers like Gaurav and his team, our policymakers, right, to say where Tamil Nadu is as a state. We know we are advanced in industrialization, in manufacturing, even in automation, but then this sort of a study will give a very quantitative, comprehensive perspective on where we are really in the Industry 4.0. So I'm just taking time in between so that you actually take the survey. So Gaurav has shared the link. If you can click on that link, there is no login required. You can just fill up the survey. This is the opening page. There are 3 broad groups of questions. The first group is about your demographics, right? And one caveat here, as we start filling up the survey, please be assured all the information that you provide will be kept anonymous, right? We may ask you for your company name, your name, but all that is only for us to keep track and to help out analysis. But none of these names or details, like we have asked, what is your revenue, right? Annual revenue. None of that information will be shared in the final report. It is only to help us classify you as companies. What are large companies? What are small, medium companies, right? So the three broad groups of questions. The first one is demographics. The second one is the core 8 questions, right? This is from the matrix that Nampu shared. We will look at the 4 forces that shape Industry 4.0. We will look at the 4 or 5 maturity levels. Those are the 8 core questions. And then the last set of questions are open-ended. We ask you what are the challenges you face in Industry 4.0. What is the purpose behind going for Industry 4.0? So that's the overview of the survey. This is the opening screen. So I hope all of you have clicked on this link and can see the screen. So the first page just sets the context. And now if you click on this arrow at the bottom right, it will take you to the first set of questions, what I mentioned as the demographics, right? So again, I will actually fill it up so that you can also do that. Like Nampu said, we know that you have multiple teams maybe spread across different geographic locations, like Mr. Ramanan said, but each of your perspective is important. So please make sure we get 30 or 33 responses at the end of this call. So name of the respondent, I'll quickly fill it up. I can always delete my response. If you feel any information like annual revenue is sensitive, then please give a very rough number. Like I said, none of this is. Yeah, so all this information is going to remain anonymous. Okay, let me continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically your name, designation, contact details, what is your location? Gaurav spoke about the SIPCOT centers of excellence in the Hosur and Chennai clusters. We want to see, are there any other clusters that are coming up in Tamil Nadu? Where are you headquartered? Are you an Indian-based company or are you an MNC? Approximate number of employees you have in India, because it will help us coordinate.
Madam.
What is the number of sites in India? Because we are going to talk about questions like collaboration, communication between your facilities. So knowing the number of sites you have will help us. What is your annual revenue? Again, some of your earlier respondents found this question to be a little sensitive. So we don't need an accurate number, just a broad number, which will help us to classify all the respondents. What is your capital investment in India? What is the industry sector you belong to? I'm sure you know most of these answers like the back of your hand. You should be able to quickly fill them up, but I'm actually doing it so that you get the time to fill it. And what is the production model that best describes your processes? Do you have a demand forecast and follow a traditional make to stock process? Or are you changing to more of a just-in-time make-to-order process? So please select the best option that fits your business model. What is the category we want to look at? OEMs versus the rest of the supplier ecosystem where you fit in. What are the differences in Industry 4.0 adoption between these different categories of companies? What is your job function? So again, this is where Nampu said we are looking at multiple perspectives so that there is no bias. A CIO may look at Industry 4.0 in a very different way when compared to a CFO or a maintenance or any other leadership. What is your job level? So I will take a minute here so that you can complete these questions. So this is the first set of questions which talks about demographics. This is not going to directly help us arrive at the maturity index, but it will help us classify companies so that we can see geographically in terms of business model, in terms of are you an OEM or a supplier, where are different companies in Tamil Nadu in Industry 4.0 adoption. So I hope this set of questions was easy for you. So I'm assuming all of you have completed it. So once you have done, you can again click on the blue arrow at the bottom right. Now this takes us to the 8 core questions, what we call the core questions to help us assess the maturity level of Industry 4.0. Because Industry 4.0, as you know, it's a journey. It's not a target to be attained. So different companies are at different stages. So these 8 questions basically cover the 4 forces: technology, resources, process, and people. It will also cover the, so 8 questions are split into those 4 forces, and these 5 options that you see for each question will help us assess the maturity level for each one, and we'll come up with an overall index. Right? So I'll take the first question. So broadly, the questions are, these are very technology agnostic questions. We are not going to ask you where are you in IoT adoption or big data adoption. On the other hand, these are very basic, like what Nampu explained, right? Are you having visibility? Do you have transparency? Can you simulate situations? Can you predict something even before it happens? So very technology agnostic ways of assessing your maturity. But actually, if you see, it talks about IoT, or how do you have sensors in your machine, do you have shop floor integration, do you have interoperability between your machines. So those are the broad tenets that will be covered in these 8 questions. So one request is, for each of these questions, please select one radio button for 2022 on where you are today, and one option for 2030 on where you see yourself 8 years or 10 years from now. That will help us understand where is your investment appetite, right? So let's look at the first question. To what extent are your physical assets digitized today? So when we talk about physical assets, these are your key machine tools, maybe a CMM you use for measurement, maybe your tool room equipment. What key assets, to what level are they digitized, right? So if you look at the 5 options, some of them are legacy or critical assets. You have used some instrumentation, or you are at the 3rd level where real-time data is used for decision making. The 4th level is where large sets of data are used to come out with insights using analytics. So these are the 5 levels. So how digitized are your assets today? So 2022, please select one radio button. The topmost option is the lowest level of maturity. The bottommost is the highest level of maturity. Please be honest in selecting the best option. And then go to the next column, 2030. You would have already planned for some investments to add some sensors or digitize some of your key assets. So where do you see 2030? So it will probably be 1 or 2 levels below what you selected for 2022. So one issue we have, sometimes people don't select options, or they select multiple options. So please select one option first for 2022 and then one for 2030. This is for how digitized are your critical assets. So that's the first question. So now your individual assets, we have looked at it. Now it's not sufficient if only the assets have some sensors. They may be able to take some local decisions, but for an ideal Industry 4.0 type of situation, the data has to flow all the way to the mezzanine floor, right? As we say, shop floor to top floor. So to what way is communication implemented between these assets and the operations management? Operations management could be a dashboard, could be your factory manager, your shop floor manager. So we need this communication to happen. So what is the level of structured communication you have implemented for these assets? So again, 5 levels, starting from very minimal. Do you just have some shift level paper-based reporting, or do you have dashboards in your shop floor, or do you have advanced analytics to convert these metrics into actionable items? So these are the 5 levels. The 5th level, as you can see, is what is called IT/OT integration. That's one more name used for Industry 4.0. So if you look at structured communication for your shop floor assets, what is your level? Again, 2 options. Please select one option first for 2022. Where do you see yourself? If it is just paper-based communication, you can select the first radio button. And then if you see any investments happening, you can select the 2nd or 3rd button for 2030. That's the second question. So we looked at individual assets. We looked at feeding of that data.
Mr. Ramachandran?
Yes, sir.
If we have to unselect something where somebody has wrongly pressed one button, is it possible to unselect?
Yeah, that unselect option is not there, so that's a limitation with the tool. So maybe you can take a screenshot and do it later, or you select the next option. We can clean up the data. Just drop a note to me.
Okay, please continue.
So we looked at individual assets, then we looked at integrating the assets at the shop floor level. Next, we will go to interconnectedness between these assets, because as you know, in an assembly line or in a shop floor where a part moves from one machine to another, right? It's very important for communication between these machines. So you could have machines with multiple control systems. One could be from Fanuc, one could be from somebody else. So interoperability is very important. So that's where this question asks, to what level are your production assets interconnected between each of them, and also with your management system? It could be the MES, is it integrated with ERP? So that's how you can visualize this question. So we are looking at interconnectedness between machines, between these machines and your bigger enterprise level applications like MES and ERP. So again, please select one option for 2022 and then one for 2030. Okay, so these three questions, we have gathered data. Now it's very important, as you know, we hear all these statements, data is the new oil, data is king, all that. But if you don't know what to do with data, then it's not so good, right? Collecting so much of data. So it's very important to have computing resources so that you can derive valuable, actionable insights from this data. That's where you need computing. So maybe you can think of analytics, maybe you can think of big data, advanced techniques like machine learning. So what is the level of capability and computing infrastructure you have in order to make use of this data and build actionable insights, data-driven insights? You can drive innovation out of it. Only if you do that, you are making full use of this data that is gathered. So think of computing, think of analytics, advanced analytics, big data, think of machine learning. What is your level in which you make use of this data to analyze it and to come out with insights for innovation and for even for day-to-day decision making? So that's the fourth question. Now we move on to process, and then we look at collaboration and people side, right? So the fifth question is on the process side, because again, today any manufacturing setup runs on a process, right? And if this process is not standardized, even better if it is not digitized, again, it's not a very optimal situation we are in. So to what extent are your manufacturing processes and SOPs digitized? How integrated are they to support your organization's overall vision? So please select the best option. The first option is just legacy and disconnected processes where your shop floor does not talk to your marketing, your sales and other departments. That's not a good situation to be in. The next level is where you have well-defined processes. The third one is they are not only well-defined, but they are also digitized. You use tools like product lifecycle management, you use workflow systems. That's the third level. The ultimate level is where you have intelligent process automation. So let's not go there. That's a very ideal state to be in. But these are the 5 levels with increasing complexity, with increasing maturity as you look at your manufacturing processes and standard operating procedures. So where are you in 2022? And if you're talking about making investments in this area, then you can select 1 or 2 levels below for 2030. This is on the process side. Now, next we come to collaboration side, because today, as you know, we are beyond globalization. No organization today can work in a silo, especially MSME sector. We all work in an ecosystem. So what that means is collaboration is very, very important. You need to talk to your customers. You may have downstream suppliers. So for the whole ecosystem for manufacturing in Tamil Nadu to work effectively, you need to collaborate, not just within the state or the country. Maybe you have even some global collaborators, right? So to what level does collaboration happen in your organization, specifically with external stakeholders? Because here there is a lot of cyber security involved. There is going to be intellectual property sharing, IP sharing. So all that is covered in this question. So put yourself in the hat of your external collaboration. Could be managed by your purchasing or procurement department or your engineering department. What is the level of collaboration that happens with your external stakeholders, with your external partners? So again, 5 levels, where the first one is there is no collaboration at all. You work in a silo, you have your own products you have been making for so many years, so many decades, you keep doing the same thing. So that's a big risk because some products can get obsolete. Or you have well-defined collaboration processes. There is selective exchange of information. Maybe you send some drawings by email. That way it's secure, but it may not be an optimal way of doing it. The third is seamless exchange of information systems. And then as you keep going down the line, you may have joint co-creation of intellectual property. You may come up with products working jointly. So sixth question is on collaboration with external stakeholders. What is the maturity level you see yourself in today and in 2030? So that was external collaboration. Now we come to the people side, because this is one point we keep coming across, right? One big challenge for Industry 4.0 is that we don't have skilled manpower. This is not an issue just in India. It's happening globally also. So me and Nampu are working with the same framework and applying it in other countries. And there are so many other published reports starting from World Economic Forum, right? So wherever you go, these technologies are ahead of their time. They're capable of doing all this stuff, but finding people to understand and implement it is a challenge. So where are you on the people side to implement digital transformation or to implement Industry 4.0? So the lowest option is where you have just minimal digital skills, right? You just have a basic understanding, but you don't have people to implement it. Or you have started doing some pilots, it's in a very exploratory stage, or you have a digital strategy and vision in place, you have already trained people, that's the third level. So these are the 5 levels, again, from a people perspective when it comes to Industry 4.0 adoption. So where do you see yourself? That's the second question. And the last question in the core question group is on internal collaboration. We spoke about external collaboration, but sometimes even internal collaboration is not in place. So that's why we had a question specifically on this. So where are you when it comes to multiple departments and functions talk to each other? The handoff between engineering and manufacturing for new products, all that is very important. Not just in large enterprises, even MSME sector is talking seamless exchange of information between departments and functions is very important. So where are you on that? So starting from the initial levels, partially defined, very inconsistent, or you may have well-defined processes. The third level is where it's not just well-defined, but it is also digitized. You have trained your employees, you have clearly communicated how information exchange should happen between departments. So that's the 8th question. This is the last core question, which talks about internal collaboration. So I went slow so that you take time to actually fill up these questions. So I hope all of you have selected 16 options, 2 each for each of the core 8 questions. So those questions will help us arrive at the maturity index. Now, like I said, there are Industry 4.0 is a very broad canvas. It's very difficult to capture the whole scope under these 8 questions. So we have a few more open-ended questions. I think these should be a little easy for you to answer. So question number 9, what are the 3 reasons for Industry 4.0 adoption, where 1 is the highest ranking option? Maybe you're doing it because your customer is asking you to do it, maybe because of regulatory requirements or cost reduction. Was there any question? I can take a break for a few minutes. Okay, so question 9 talks about the top 3 reasons for Industry 4.0 adoption, so that we can understand where you are coming from. What is the driving force behind Industry 4.0 adoption? Is it because of regulatory requirements? Is it for cost reduction, cycle time reduction, right? So please rank the top 3, 1, 2, 3, where 1 is the highest ranking option because of which you are going for Industry 4.0 adoption. Now the need is there, but then what is the interest level in your organization, right? So a lot of people keep talking about it. There is a lot of awareness in the past few years across countries, even in small towns in India. But what is the interest level? Is it being discussed at the boardroom level? We have still not started implementing it. Or is it being discussed among senior management? How much to invest, where to invest on that? Or have you already started some implementation, or is it already adopted? So what is the interest level for Industry 4.0 in your organization? That should be an easy one for you. Then question 11 is about the scale of operation. Because another challenge we see in Industry 4.0 adoption is even among large enterprises, many of them start with small pilots in a particular factory or in an assembly line or in a business unit. but they are not able to scale it up because of diversity or multiple factors. So where are you in your current scale of adoption? Either you're not started at all, it is still on the drawing board in planning stages, or you have started some proof of concepts, some initial 1 or 2 use cases you have taken to try it out, or there are some completed or some end-to-end pilot initiatives in specific factories, or maybe it's a business level implementation in some units, or it's enterprise wide. So what is the current scale of Industry 4.0 adoption in your organization? That's question number 11. And 12 is a very interesting question. What are the challenges faced in your Industry 4.0 journey? So that's why in the demographics, we asked you about your industry type, what is your geography, what is your size, number of employees, all that. So we can try to correlate between those factors and the challenges faced. Are the challenges unique across companies, or do different types of companies have different challenges? So it could be on the people side, it could be infrastructure. If many of you feel infrastructure is a challenge, then that will be an input for Gaurav to go and knock on the doors of policymakers to say, roll out 5G quickly in Tamil Nadu in these pockets, because infrastructure is a challenge for Industry 4.0 adoption. So this study is a very good opportunity for you to make sure your voice is heard. Nowhere than the Chief Minister's office and even further up. So what are the challenges that you face in Industry 4.0 adoption? And then the last 3 questions are even more open. If there are still some things which we have not thought of, so for example, some companies say, oh, we are not aware of this Akatech maturity index, but we have already implemented CMM or some other index. If you are using any other metrics or any other framework or maturity index, please feel free to share that with you just for our understanding. And then if there are any other details that you want to share in the Industry 4.0 strategy that you are following, any reasons because of which you are adopting it, we have not covered above, any of those points, please make sure. Again, all these inputs will be anonymous. We are not going to name the person who gave any particular input. And then the last question is any direct feedback that you want to give to the government policy initiatives. Maybe your industry in a particular region, maybe Erode or Chennai, you have a very, very specific issue that you want to bring up to the government. So please feel free to add that here. So that brings us to the end of the survey. You may get a warning saying all questions are not filled up, but that's fine. Please ignore that. Go ahead and submit the survey. And we will consolidate the inputs, and this will help us do the analysis. So Professor Amit from Department of Management Studies in IIT Madras, Professor Kulwant Pawar from University of Nottingham, we'll be making use of all of their expertise. So we'll get a very global perspective. So we are not going to just stop with status quo, where is Tamil Nadu in Industry 4.0, but with Gaurav and team support, with our academic partners, we'll also come up with a roadmap based on your findings and based on other external expert opinion on what can be a roadmap for Tamil Nadu, because all of us have a very keen interest to see our state develop in Industry 4.0. So with this, I will stop. I hope all of you were able to complete the survey. Nampu or Gaurav, anything else you wanted to add?
No, this is good. I hope everybody were able to complete the survey and understand the key points that we were trying to capture from you. As always, guidance is open. We are always looking forward to help you apart from our regular work. Industry 4.0 is one area of interest to us, and we feel that we need to constantly push and create awareness to our industries, SMEs, large companies, to help them understand the benefits that they could derive, and also understand from them the challenges they are facing, so that as the survey also in the end request you to tell us the opportunities or the areas where you feel that we could come in and we would appropriately frame our policies. The Tamil Nadu industrial policy already gives some subsidies and incentives for industries who are using such technologies, but possibly if we have this data from you through this survey, we can come out exclusively with a focused approach for advanced manufacturing in Industry 4.0. Hence the request of reaching out to you, and hence the request of having this webinar. But as always, we are open, and I will share my email ID in the chat box. If anyone wants to reach out to me, I'll be happy to take the conversation forward. And I think, as Nampu has also mentioned, at the end, we will also share with all the participants the report of which we hope it will be available by the end of this year, by December, or early next year. And we'll share the report with you, and we will acknowledge Hindustan Chamber of Commerce in that report for the webinar that you have organized, and we can take the conversation forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gaurav. I would request a write-up for our journal on this subject, and you can also share the link again. We will circulate to our members and ask them to submit. I know you did it in July. We did circulate it to our members. Thank you so much.
We'll do it again. I'll send it to you by email. Yes.
I now call upon Mr. Vijay P. Chodia, our President-elect in Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, to propose vote of thanks.
You are muted, Mr. Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. I have great pleasure in proposing a formal vote of thanks. Guidance Tamil Nadu works hand in hand with investors to unlock investment opportunities and facilitate a seamless investment journey in Tamil Nadu. Due to the efforts of Guidance Tamil Nadu, over 300 US companies have invested nearly $11 billion in Tamil Nadu in sectors such as automobile, building materials, and chemicals. It is very commendable. The Guidance Tamil Nadu is also promoting startups in the US to invest in the state. We are delighted to have had Shri Gaurav Daga, Associate Vice President, Guidance Tamil Nadu, address the gathering today. He touched upon he also informed us about the formation of the Innovation Center as well as the Center of Excellence, and mentioned about the World Economic Forum. Thank you, Mr. Gaurav Daga, for your address to the gathering. We then had the address by Shri Nampuraja Enos, Principal Consultant with the Advanced Engineering Group at Infosys, was quite enlightening. He mentioned about the architect formation as well as the capability in manufacturing production operations. A brief on that. Thank you, Mr. Nampuraja, for your address. The address by Shri Ramachandran, Principal Consultant at Infosys, was informative and useful. And he mentioned about, he requested for the survey form to be filled to gather data, to derive, to analyze, and help the industry to perform better, and agreed for a roadmap for the industry based on the survey. Thank you, Mr. Ramachandran. I thank Shri Ramanathan, Chairman, and Shri Anand Rajagopal, Co-Chairman, Industries Committee of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, for initiating the program of today. I thank the audience for their interactive response to the program. I thank the President of Hindustan Chamber of Commerce, Shri Nagapan, for making this program happen. I thank the Secretariat of Hindustan Chamber for their support. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Brings
everyone.
us to the close of the program.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking your time. Look forward to your inputs. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.